All right, everybody. Welcome to another Sunday show on Michael Jordan Fans Are the Best. We're running a little light today, a skeleton crew, as Speem said. So this might be a little shorter than normal, but we thought we'd at least come on, give you guys something to talk about, some content, and uphold our end of the bargain. So we'll go around real quick intros, and then we'll get into it. How you doing, AOH?
Steam engine, what happened?
Why don't you just go
What
ahead with what he was asking? Why don't you just go ahead with what he was asking so we can move forward, please? Thank you.
Half your head's cut off, bro.
Just go ahead. Nick, I apologize. You want me to go, Nick, while I'm fixing this? Because I can multitask.
Yeah. All right, Stream. You go.
Okay, yeah.
You go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us. Give me a fucking second.
I feel like I'm watching the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. All right. And you know what? I'm going to work through it, too, because fuck it. Thank you. We are here to, what's Hoops God say? Combat the narratives, because we're sick of the Bronny shit. And it's no disrespect against him. I'm going to be full hater mode once I figure this camera out. Go ahead.
All right, so the topic on the thumbnail, Dart put, did the NBA bust on LeBron? And the title of the show is, does the NBA have a serious marketing problem? And I'm going to assume he meant in regards to perhaps LeBron and his relationship with Bronny and kind of what's going on currently. So, Speem, I think you're the one locked and loaded. You had some things you wanted to say. If you want to start, you're more than welcome.
Let me get this shit worked out. AOH didn't even say who he is yet.
All right. Well, I'm going to crap on the rest of the panel. You know, I actually had some things to provide today, but they just leave us on this skeleton crew. I will read some recent news. LeBron is planning on playing with his dog to keep the soap opera fans intrigued. And it's not disrespectful to it's not disrespectful to basketball because it's going to be making history. So it'll be the first dog and dog owner on the court ever. And you know, that's history. It's very
It's a big moment.
It's entertaining. It's important.
Didn't we talk about Air Bud on Tuesday?
We did. Air Bud snuck in the top 10 on my all-time basketball list. So
even back then, LeBron knew.
Again, LeBron stealing, you know, other movie ideas and other things to do from other people, you know. So just a shame. I was gonna say this though. I always play like both sides a little bit. I try to cut it down the middle a little more. But in terms of, did the NBA bust on LeBron? If we kind of take his whole career into account, do we think the NBA actually busted on LeBron? I mean, they did sort of get him from the time he was a prodigy and marketed him all the way up till today. In the NBA's eyes, did they bust on it, right? I think the argument would be, well, the long-term detriment that perhaps bolstering this guy up above all else, no matter what, for his entire career and his current, like I've kind of put it, he does kind of seem to be an albatross around the neck of the NBA right now. I don't think he's a good ambassador to the younger generation. I don't think he gives them enough shout out and enough credit and enough uplifting motivation, if you will, however you want to put that. So I guess we could just start there. In the NBA's eyes, did they bust on the opportunity of LeBron?
So unfortunately, we have to get into the nuances of even defining the words used in the sentence. When I saw the topic was, did they bust? Well, the LeBron James era has redefined what bust means, because as long as there's money coming in, then they will claim otherwise. And you'll hear Stephen A. Smith justifying the Bronny thing by saying, LeBron has helped the league make blah, blah, billions of dollars, which I would actually argue with. I would say that the league helped LeBron make billions of dollars. But this goes on and on. I've talked about it. You guys have talked about it. As long as there's money, nothing is considered a failure anymore. You know, I hate to make myself sound bad, but for some reason I've seen this multiple times on.
You do it a lot, but go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. You do it a lot for someone that says that, but go ahead. My bad.
Be funny if you're going to interrupt, for fucking Christ's sakes. these prostitutes that are coming out and bragging about their profession now because they made so much money. You know, nobody's ashamed of what they do for a living anymore. Nobody is ashamed as long as there's a paycheck behind it. And shout out to Uncommon. He brought up something that I actually forgotten about. Is like this started around the same time where being a failure turned you into a celebrity. And he talked about that time when who was that silly Chinese dude that did the Macarena terrible and he went viral?
So William. Oh no, I'm thinking of William Hung. My bad. Never mind.
I can't remember, but like he ended up like showing up on everybody's shows because he was terrible. And I was like, that was new back then. And we become so accustomed to it, we forgot that at one point in time that was strange. Now we just see absurdity on television and constantly somebody waiting to go viral for some random reason. And they're not going viral for respectable reasons. And now that's the norm. And that's the NBA now. How about Ayton? How about Ayton when his quote, when he said, I'm a max player. And basically it doesn't matter if I lose, I'm a max player and I'll always be a max player. This is the mentality of the current NBA, and the fans that support that NBA are fine with it. They like the WWE. Someone comes out and makes a ridiculous statement, and whether they're good or not just doesn't matter anymore.
Go ahead, Speen.
Another example, AOH, would be when Devin Booker put up that 70 and, they took pictures after a loss and it was celebrated. I don't remember how long ago that was, but there have been numerous instances where it's like you've had these incredible, I wouldn't even say incredible because there's no defense, but these high output games, and then they're celebrated even though the team gets blown out. See LeBron winning the scoring title, right? You stop the game, you have a parade, Rich Paul comes out and, does his thing.
Rich Paul came out during that?
No, I'm exaggerating, but it's,
Okay.
these crazy things happen. And it's just like, well, I mean, it's not like he worked that hard to get it. It goes back to the microwavable kind of where we are as a society. And it didn't even occur to me until one of my closest friends, shout out to my boy Jules, put it in perspective that even kids today, and it's sad because LeBron is our age, kids today, their role models are influencers, not alpha athletes. And, I can say alpha without having to have to worry about like the negative connotation and the toxic masculinity and all that, because I do believe in such a thing as an alpha mentality. And Jordan, he was that. Kobe was that. And that's no longer the case. And now kids look up to heroes, quote unquote, that don't have that same kind of point of view and want to take shortcuts. And that's why we are where we are. So as you see, your Tyrese Halliburton's move kind of funny, your Ja Morant's move kind of funny in the league. It's because, well, they're looking up to, players like LeBron, and it just like generationally gets worse and worse, like, like a disease almost. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. And, when we get into the more Bronny specific stuff, it makes me worry about him. And also, they mentioned this on the Mason Cameron show, LeBron's other son, what's this going to do to his, now I'm like, well, I mean, if my dad's going to run me rugged like this, and I'm the one with the, no disrespect, the quote unquote talent, I need to rethink some things.
What, think about how much the in-season tournament cost to put on.
Jesus,
not just the floors and not just bringing the players in, but the advertising. The advertising was through the roof. But you turn around and claim that it's a success. Well, you made it look like a success. Like, does anyone even know if it was a success on paper or not? Did they make more than what it cost them? But that's just a side topic of it. Like, it was a mockery of a competition, and it wasn't a success in that way either. But all they have to do is tell you that it was a success. and have all these paid for podcasters come on and say that it was a success, and all the weak-minded followers say, oh, it was a success. And that's what they do with the entire game of basketball now.
Yeah, in terms of the marketing part of LeBron, you know, Kobe was marketed a lot as well, but it was always within like the game of basketball in a way, if that makes sense. Almost like he didn't want the advertising dollars, or it was just videos of him in the gym, you know, kind of very dry kind of stuff. And the other thing with like, if we compare that to LeBron, right? It just feels like all of the marketing and everything he does started to, and I know this isn't a hot take, but like started to become more political and off the court and other things around the NBA. And that's fine. Like, I'm not here to tell people what they can and can't say, but what I don't like is because the NBA had gone all in on LeBron, you know, as you see on the thumbnail, like him at the poker table in a way, they had gone all in on LeBron. They can't tell him or prevent him from letting that also seep into the actual league, like behind closed doors with other players. And we've talked about this before, that if you don't walk the line, if you don't do what LeBron wants, you get put on the bad list, right? And I'm sure some of that is probably political. I remember there's a story about younger guys that he came in to talk to him, and they were just like, we're not here for that, man. Like, we're all here to try and eat and get on a team. And he, you know, he's over here like giving us these big long speeches about politics and stuff, which is fine, but this is not what we're here for, right? And this kind of banana boat culture, you know, going to Miami and all that stuff. That is where I think the NBA has busted on, is not being able to reel him in or control him in any manner. He now is the NBA. If he almost feels like a mob boss, sometimes in a way, if that makes sense, right?
It does.
So that's like my 2 cents on where I think they really lost the plot in terms of the NBA going all in on a guy and still understanding that, you know, by doing this, you put all your eggs in one basket. You have to, I don't want to say control him, right? But you're behind him now. So he's the lead dog. So what he does is seen as the face of the NBA, right? And you're kind of beholden now to the whims of a singular guy, right? Which is kind of crazy.
Nick, can I comment real quick, AOH, because before I forget this. So I noticed you paused yourself when you said control him, right? That's part of the problem. He's, at the end of the day, he's an employee. And AOH, I'm gonna give you your flowers because you bring this up all the time. There's the owner and then there's the employee, right? So, and I don't want to steal your thunder, AOH, but I'm only going to get this point out real fast. You know, even you being hesitant to say control, Nick, a part of you might be hesitant because you're a white man saying a black athlete can't be controlled. No. Follow me. You say,
well, I just meant from like man to man, right? Like trying to tell someone else what to do.
No.
It had nothing to do with being scared.
Follow me. No. Follow me on this. I'm with you 100%. The point is, for you to have that publicly, Clutch would hide behind racism if you were in a higher position of power and said that. The first thing they would say is, I'm a black athlete. I'm more than an athlete. I can't be controlled. Don't tell me I can be controlled. It's no different than So I say all that to say I wasn't accusing you of that. I'm putting it in context.
Right. It's got to be a two-way street. Yeah.
Right. It's no different than Phil Jackson using the word posse. It's, you know, anytime there is the removable of accountability, you know, any chance of accountability, Clutch specifically, because I hear Rich Paul do this all the time, they immediately bring up that his dad or his mom was a crackhead and how hard it is being a black man in this country. And it's no shit, it's hard. Tell that to a motherfucker living check to check, working in the nonprofit sector in this fucking tent. I don't need to hear how hard it is. You know what I mean? Like, so I say all that to say, the fact that you even hesitate to say that, there's probably a subconscious part of you that is, because it's like, yo, you can't have honest opinions anymore without it being politicized. That's all I wanted to say. My bad.
Yeah, and in my defense, like I don't care about if I offend people because they're black, to be honest. If we're saying that, when I was talking, I just meant that you can't tell another man what to do a lot of the times, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I meant it as, is how do you tell another man what to do when you're paying him that much money, whether he's white or black or whatever. But yeah, I understand. But I will admit with the politics I was mentioning, that was very racial, right? And so whether I agree or disagree, if I'm a fly on the wall and I'm just watching this, you just cut your cake down the middle and, and turned half of them off and maybe the other half like it or whatever, right? But that's not how I would play it, right? You're a sport. You're here to draw in as many people as possible, right? In a way, that's kind of, if you're the NBA, the owners and the CEO and everything, your job is to say, look, I don't necessarily mind if you guys get political, but remember, we're on the court and we're out here putting on entertainment. This is what this is. Try to keep it neutral. You know what I mean? Like, just put on a good show.
Neutral.
Like, yeah, I don't. And
Impartial.
again, what would that look like on paper? What would you tell them to do that? How do you enforce that? I don't know, but I think that would be largely what you're trying to accomplish.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Well, you called him a mob boss. It made me think of Jaylen Brown immediately, and Jaylen Brown backtracking after saying something that was nothing but an observation about Bronny. Like, men can't even like say their opinion. He didn't even tweet it. Somebody just heard him saying it while he was watching the game. You have to like watch your mouth everywhere you go now. That is absolutely mob boss.
100%. Yeah. You toe the line or, you're going to be gone. Right.
You gotta stand
maybe
on
it's not,
something.
maybe it's not that severe, but again, if you don't, I don't want to say kiss LeBron's ass, but if you don't bend the knee or if you push up a resistance, he's just not going to like you. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, he's just not going to like you. And once that starts, he has all the leverage, right? So you're at the whim of, again, like I kind of ended with, a singular guy because you put all your chips in on this guy.
I have an indicator for you guys so that you know when I'm being serious, when I'm making a really important point. It's my LeBron method. Now all I have to do is curse, and my eyes are wide. I want you guys to know. Now I'm serious. I don't know if you guys know this, but Bronny just doesn't give a fuck. And I work very hard, and we work very hard. And to me, this is very. It's just prophecy because my eyes are wide. Now you know I'm not lying. And Malcolm X was a very, very smart man.
LeBron, can you quote anything from the book to back that up?
Oh, well, to quote Donald Trump's take on the Bible, I wouldn't want to do that. It's all good. The whole thing's good. The
whole thing is good.
The whole thing's good.
It's all good. All of it's good. All of it's good. A
very smart man wrote the Bible.
while googly eyes is going on, I also want to rewind in the spirit of nobody's fucking calling Nick racist. What? You completely misinterpreted. Guys. Nobody's. Well, yeah, I can't verify that. I'm bringing race into it in the play that's what Clutch does. That's how low hanging fruit an argument is now. Is let's hide behind something that removes exactly what we're arguing about, so I can further make myself either right or the victim. And most of these talking heads don't have they won't even bring it up. When did you want to, or how far did you want to get into like the marketing piece compared to like kind of where things are now? Because all this Stephen A stuff and JJ stuff is out of control. And the two aren't meeting in the middle in terms of, what's the truth and what isn't. But I did have a couple factoids.
Yeah, go ahead. You had a good point about how they contradicted each other. If you want to start it, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find this. I'm gonna paraphrase. So Stephen A, he's on TV talking about that LeBron has earned this right to bring Bronny into the league and blah blah blah, and nepotism isn't an issue when white people have it. And I'm going to let AOH speak to that because that's more his vein. My thing is there hasn't been one person to call Stephen A out and say, but JJ Redick said the exact opposite thing in that press conference. JJ Redick said he earned his way here. JJ Redick said he's a special kid. JJ Redick said that he takes the game seriously. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, every kid is special to their parents, A. And B, are you not supposed to take the game seriously? Why does that have to be a badge of honor? Is that like, Is that like if there's the, you know, the ugly girl in the group and your friends are trying to like hook you up with her and they say, well, you know, is she nice looking? And they say, well, she has a pretty face. That's essentially that. They're trying to doll this up, and they're not even meeting in the middle on the lie anymore. So it's like there's an arrogance behind it. Like, this is how stupid either we are as a society or how stupid we, you know, they think we are.
JJ should unfollow Stephen A on Twitter for accidentally disagreeing with him. He didn't even intentionally disagree with him. They like you said, they're just getting their lies crisscrossed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's why I opened with the dog example. You know, if saying that you earned the right to basically desecrate the game. You know, LeBron James could be the best player ever. He could actually carry himself with dignity and not be an embarrassing excuse for a man. And he could actually deserve the compliments that he gets. It still would not give him the right to treat the game of basketball that way. Yeah. And here you have Stephen A. Smith basically influencing all these people into thinking, oh, it is okay. It's okay to do this to the game of basketball. And if we keep going in that direction, you know, the dog example is probably extreme, but you know, to what extent are we going to just keep substituting basketball with some form of entertainment and drama show? Brian Windhorst, I should have gotten this quote ready to play, but then he came out and he said, "We just didn't get it. When we were criticizing the whole what LeBron was doing in the offseason, we just didn't understand the master plan. We're dumb. We just didn't understand the master plan. This was the plan all along," which to a true basketball fan is damaging the sport. And shout out to the independent guys out there, the YouTubers, those of you who actually report on the game of basketball, because without you, I wouldn't even know what Quincy did in that game against.
Exactly.
I wouldn't even know who the number 1 overall draft pick did, Zach. You know, that's terrible. That's absurd. I can't even learn this from actual sports journalists until LeBron turns around and realizes, oh, look, this guy's getting the spotlight and decides to hop in a photo with him. Oh, God, he's so cringy.
It's gross. It's gross.
I'm actually physically ill, and people like this guy. How do they not see it?
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it there a little bit too. You know, like getting his son and JJ Redick and having such a control of the front office and all the things he's done along those lines through his career. It kind of ties into what I was saying where is LeBron leaving the game? It seems like on his way out, he's more worried about what his exit's going to look like, right? It seems like he's more worried about being liked by everybody or however you want to put it, right? Instead of focusing on, again, I kind of said it already, but you know, an albatross around the neck of the NBA with these younger guys coming up. And there's so many stars out there who deserve more airtime and whatnot. And it doesn't really feel like he's, hyping those guys up, right? I think one thing I've always said is like, I never want to be the old guy who's just choking culture to death or wanting to hang on to it forever or make it mine or refuse to let go and let the next generation kind of do their thing. And I really feel like he's in that aspect. I think he's really screwing over the NBA and the current crop of guys that are coming up or even good right now, right, that are younger than him. And yeah, like the way he's just kind of using his leverage now is just, that's always the thing that's irked me about him. Everything's a PR, everything is AstroTurf, everything is squeaky clean. There's nothing real or human about him. And he's just kind of robotically using the NBA in a weird way for his own personal gain, right? It drives me crazy.
It's selfish, right? And typically I don't care because get your money, but don't tell the world that it's something different. That's what people get caught up on. One of the reasons I respected Kobe later on is he was basically like, I'm not a role model. Like even when you go back and watch his Nike commercials, he doesn't talk about being a role model. He doesn't talk about embracing education. He didn't start getting into that until after he retired. And guess what? That motherfucker wrote a children's book. He wrote it. We know LeBron can't even read. And Kobe wrote one, right? So the proof is in the pudding. And it was an award-winning book. So it's like what you do it. You don't talk about it. And someone brought this up in the chat. Josh something. It is interesting to me that Bronny is noticeably quiet in all of this and not it doesn't seem like he's being at the podium at the end of these games saying I did play like crap, maybe I do need to work on X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying he's not holding himself accountable. I'm saying it's obvious the Lakers are intentionally not putting him in a position to even speak or talk, and there's reason behind that, because he's probably an honest kid. He probably wants to go out there and be like, yo, I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. Like,
Well,
this is tiresome. Go ahead.
a subtopic on Bronny. Some people are saying, "Oh, leave him alone," or he was forced into this, and what LeBron did to him is messed up, using him as a pawn. And a big part of me agrees with that. But the other side of me is, well, at what age do you hold a man accountable for his own decisions? Bronny did have a choice, but did he? I'm trying to remember being 18 and under your father's influence. It's not easy to disappoint your dad, or at least for some people. So I wonder. I'm sure you disappointed the shit out of your dad.
I was waiting for you to say that dumb bullshit. Go ahead.
I don't. Maybe it's a different show, but I mean, you could really argue both ways. Did Bronny want this? And he's like, "Hey, fuck it, I'll take $8 million to play like dog crap and get to say that I was a Laker, and even if it means here comes the ridicule." Or how much of it was, my dad says it's my choice, but we all know it's not my choice. There's gonna be some living hell shit. Can you mute Dart?
I'll mute myself. I'll mute myself.
I didn't even know he was in here. What's up, Dart?
I was waiting patiently to tell everyone that Michael Jordan fans are the best. Yeah, no, I just got done my work shift, and then Nick, when I get home, you'll be able to clearly tell, and then I'll leave the studio when I get home, and then I'll take over, so you can get ready for your MJFB potentially final matchup. You gotta pull this one out, man. You gotta beat Jim and get that rematch, because otherwise, if he beats you, it's over, and he's the champ.
Gotcha.
And it's going to be the 87 Lakers versus the 1972 Lakers. You're defending the 87 Lakers, or arguing for. And Jim is doing the 72 Lakers. It'll happen at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So after this, near after. But yeah, anyway, can you start me from the top? Line by line, please? No. So I just to go right into the topic for me, and then I'll mute myself because I am driving. I do think that the NBA is going to have a void. I do like that they have Victor Wembanyama to potentially pick up some of the slack, because he is a freak. He's able to do all these very athletic things for specifically his height. He obviously is not particularly strong in the athletic department for his frame. However, I think it's exciting to see him dunk, and he seems to have rather good quickness and agility in respect to his height, especially with some of the dunks that he does and how he's able to get off the dribble with that first step and be able to drive to the rim. It's impressive, and especially having that height is a good thing. Now, the thing is, though, is he is very franche. So it's the aspect.
Dart, can you
of
repeat
not
that? My bad. Can you repeat that?
He's very franche.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But the thing is that he's not American. So that's the one thing, that there really hasn't been a strong foreign presence that's led the league, or truly foreign presence. I mean, you could talk about Bob Cousy or something, but he grew up in America. He was also French. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that I think they are going to have a marketing problem because they've leaned so heavy on LeBron James, and the NBA itself is still to this day leaning so heavy on LeBron James, trying to push him and his son playing basketball as it's the biggest news. And apparently, whatever sells does it, but it's kind of a shame that him playing with his son, it seems to be the headline news for the upcoming season.
I mean, you nailed it because the league, look, are we going to sit here and pretend that there aren't other people in the league that they could have shifted to promoting as the face? I mean, even if it's not a perfect choice, they've had options. They've had options, and a long time ago, they decided we're just gonna switch to the soap opera. As long as there's some sort of weird story going on with LeBron. I mean, they started telling us that what he was doing at his age was unheard of at 36. We've been hearing this shit for that long. We've been hearing this shit for that long.
And one thing I was also going to say, about the whole Bronny thing real quick is that, if they drafted Bronny late or something like that, maybe where his true draft stock was, and they made him the 12th man on the bench and he played a couple minutes in blowout wins or losses or something like that. I think that would go over a lot more smoothly, but instead it's like they're going to try and play him for 10 to 15 minutes a game. And they're going to try to actually give him valuable minutes. It seems like in games, right? He might play double digit minutes or more in some crucial spots. Like that's where I think, the whole thing is a farce, right? But I mean, we've kind of agreed a little bit that, okay, as a dad, son, we kind of get it. We can be forgiving on that. But the way they're forcing it, and it seems like they want Bronny to be an all-star, right? It seems like so bad they want it instead of just kind of being more realistic about it. And instead they're trying to gaslight us that this is, this is real. This is for real. Bronny's going to play 10 or 15 minutes and be a good role player in the NBA. I don't buy that part. I think it's a little too, it's a little too much even for the average normie basketball fan.
But he takes
right?
the game seriously.
Yeah, I understand. Even normal, just kind of very laissez-faire fans are probably like, I don't, this seems a little silly, right? So,
well, I guess
say that about that too.
They're successful because here we are, talking about who the face of the league should be, and the reality is, why do we need a face? Who made the decision that there has to be a face? And now we're all spinning our wheels talking about who it should be. Whoever
LeBron,
the league can't exist without someone named as the face.
I was going to say real quick, if I after the LeBron area, however you want to put it, the current top 25 under 25 list, go take a look at that list, the top 5, 6, 7 players. I would pivot really hard to that, a group of guys. Try to get 10 guys in there that you kind of just all put even money on, and I would say hype them up as a group in the new crop after LeBron has gone. That's what I would do.
The NBA in its an entire history has been based on faces. It's been George Mikan, it's been Bob Cousy, it's been Bill Russell, it's been Wilt Chamberlain, it's been Jerry. And the 70s is kind of the dark ages, but if you want to say it had to be anyone, it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And if you count the ABA, it's Dr. J. You had Larry Bird, you had Magic Johnson, you had Michael Jordan, and then you've had LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, if you want to put him in there, and Steph Curry. And now there has to be a transition. Now to the point is that a lot of these people overlapped at some time. But outside of the 70s, there has been heavy, and this is probably unfair to the 70s because there were stars in the 70s. There's been heavy emphasis on having these guys at the top and them just being the name. And then specifically associated with team success. All of these guys have been associated with team success, and that's what drives the personality and marketing aspects and their strategies, is to push the guy that wins the championships. And especially if they have star power in respect to selling stuff like Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan, etc. So to answer the question is the NBA needs a face to sell the game because they need somebody to be the flag bearer to say that this is our champion of basketball. And it's
Yeah, but
existed that way through the entirety of the NBA.
you just said multiple names at once, though. Larry and Magic were the face at the same time. There wasn't a who has to be the one. And you're also talking about pulling the NBA out of a period of time where it was a drug problem, and people were looking at it as, oh, this is a bunch of guys with drug problems, and people were tuning out. I mean, it had to be saved at that time. There had to be somebody to show the world, hey, this isn't just a bunch of criminals, and it's something you should pay attention to. We're way past that. We don't have that excuse anymore.
Hey, real
AOH,
quick.
Go ahead,
Hoop God, you joined us. How you doing today? You got something you want to add?
Oh man, I apologize about the punctuality, but does the NBA have a marketing problem? My whole take on that is if you have to resort to a play-in tournament, an in-season tournament, trying to spin a narrative for a father-son duo, yes, the NBA definitely has a marketing problem, and it needs to get resolved.
What were you gonna say, Speem?
I was gonna say it's also just a lack of imagination. To switch gears a little bit, Jordan worked, right? We know that it worked. Kobe, I think he would have been the face of the league, but his personal life got in the way. I do think Steph was next up, but when he lost his contract with Nike, or when Nike didn't re-sign him, I think that was a big part of that. I don't think the NBA wanted somebody with Under Armour as the face of their league. I think Ja Morant would have been up if he wasn't a moron. I think he was arrogant enough to think, all right, well, the league's about to be mine. I can do whatever I want. And here we are. Wemby, I think, takes the game, ironically. I think he does take the game too seriously
What
to
does that
even
mean?
want to be the face of the league. Which part?
Too seriously.
Meaning that's what JJ Redick always resorts to, right? He always says Bronny takes the game seriously. Well, so does everybody. So does Wemby. Wemby's in the lab all the time. I don't think he cares about the dramatics, the theatrics, the wanting to be the face of the league. I think he just wants to ball, not unlike Giannis.
So is he rejecting interviews? I mean, does he have a clause that he doesn't have to go to post-game interviews?
I don't think he wants it. I don't think he wants to be. I think he just wants to win champion. I think he just wants to win. Wemby,
my point is that's beside the point. That's who you want to be the face of the league, someone who just wants to win the championship, but they still have to talk to the press. So that is the face. Act respectful and act like you want to win. That is the face.
Oh, I agree with you, but that's not the norm. But that's not the norm anymore. You don't have to be the face of the league and talk to the press because they can handle the fines. There are no consequences.
All the marketers have to do is spin it like, oh, we like the Wemby. We like the Wemby attitude. Mm-hmm. We like this humility.
Touche. Yeah.
All they have to do is tell the rest of us that that's good, because that's what they do all day and spend all their money on, is telling us that the crap LeBron does is good. I mean, they spend so much money convincing us that we're not eating a shit sandwich.
I wanted to add something on to what I was saying, because AOH had pushed back what I was saying. So what I was saying with the team success is that they pick the guys that are popular, the Larry Birds, the Magic Johnsons, and they lean on the guys that go, let's say, back to back, or have the consistent runs in the finals, the multiple championships. And within the NBA today, there hasn't been a back-to-back championship since the end of the 2010s. So it's been a while at this point. And then you have LeBron, who has been one of those flag bearers. You've had Steph Curry, who's been one of those flag bearers. They're getting old. Their teams aren't looking like they're going to win championships. So I just wanted to clarify with that, is that you have these faces of the league that are associated with the team's success. So I thought that maybe there was some sort of confusion of what I was saying. But it's not necessarily just one, but it's always the guys that are up there competing for the championships. And at this point in time, it's anyone's game. It seems like, it feels like that, and I think it's proven. I really don't think it's debatable that the NBA has been more successful when there's been quote unquote dynasties or players that have been on consistent high success runs. Break.
Quick question: Is Anthony Edwards the next American homegrown face of the NBA?
No, he's been
Everyone else
fancy.
seems to be foreign. Luka, Shea.
I don't understand how Steph Curry wasn't the obvious choice like years ago.
Yeah,
I have my theories. I know that there were talks behind the scenes that there were a lot of black players that they didn't like the face of the league being a light-skinned black man. That was a real story that was reported when Curry was on his third chip. So I'm sure that there was some kind of pushback from LeBron and Clutch.
I hate when
in
an
terms-
oppressed. I hate
Go
when
ahead.
I hate when an oppressed ethnicity is mad about the ethnicity of someone.
It's. I mean, you're talking about century. It's a whole different thing. I don't even want to go down that path. But there was a racial component to it because Curry is lighter skinned, hence seen as more safe, societally speaking. If you want to play into that, they didn't want him being the face of the league, and him being signed to Under Armour wasn't cool to them either, because it wasn't about the game. It was about money.
So is the biggest problem with Luka being a potential face of the league, if we're going to pretend we need a face of the league, is it that he's European or is it that he's white?
It's because to anybody uneducated, he's just white.
But
that's how
I think
bad
they use
generalization.
So you're saying that they say European because to cover for the fact that it's really just because he's
Bro,
white.
European is just coded language for white. You get some dumbass like Steven Jackson up there talking about European players. He's talking about white players. He just
Right,
doesn't-
but you can pretend it's about nationalism. You can pretend that it's about
exactly,
right.
exactly. It's white.
For me, I want to say as a white guy, for me, it is about him being European. It's not about him being white. It's about
As it
him
should
being
be.
Slovenian. It's weird, man. He's not American. It's generally considered an American sport. For me, it is about him being European. I'm not. So I know you preface it with being uneducated people saying it's a white guy, but the white fan base at large. Speaking for myself, I don't speak for the whole white fan base, but I think the thing that gets me caught up with Luka is that he's not American.
Dirk was okay with me because he was white.
And I was asking the question. I
He's
don't know.
German.
I don't.
Yeah.
I was just asking Speem if he was trying to say that it was because he said that the light-skinned black person wasn't acceptable, and that made me think, well, Jesus, obviously a white person isn't acceptable then, and it made me wonder.
Exactly.
I was asking. Is
it's
it
all
really
about
because
perception. It's not that different from what's her face in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, right? It's more about the politics than the game, and that's what's upsetting to me. Because Giannis is
being a little
European.
bit of both, though.
Well, sure, it's not in a vacuum, right? But Giannis is European. How many people say, well, he shouldn't be in the league? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing?
League, yeah.
Right, but again, that's such a low-hanging fruit-ass argument. It's not European, it's white. Just call it what it is. Say you're racist. Steven Jackson, come out and say you don't want white players in the league. Don't hide behind coded language. That's the problem. Even Gilbert Arenas was out there talking about European players. No, you mean white. You mean white. It's because Luka should be, in my opinion, the face of the league, and I don't even think it's like he's fun to watch. Dallas wins. No disrespect, Nick. They don't win the big game, but they win consistently enough to be on TV.
Yeah, we're getting
there, right? You have Kyrie, who is the most entertaining dude with the basketball in his hand maybe I've ever seen. It's prime for Luka to be the face of the league, and he should be the face of the league. But everybody else in the league is scared of that.
Well,
I do agree with that, only because I think Luka is a little more relatable than Jokic, even though they're both maybe like statistically kind of even, how the triple-double thing. But yeah, I don't, I understand people don't like Luka's. He does complain a lot. I understand that, and he whines. But if you've ever watched Luka, he is fun to watch, man. Like, he really is. He's fiery, which I think most people, they will look over, I think, the complaining if you're a fiery competitor, right? If you're really leaving it out there, I think a lot of people, I might not like it, but I can overlook it as long as it seems like he is there to compete. I can forego a little bit of the complaining, But yeah, I think Luka's way more relatable than Jokic, in terms of like, if you're scared of a white or European guy, I think you definitely have to go with Luka over Jokic.
And Giannis is the Greek freak. Greece is in Europe. Does anyone think? Does
You-
anyone
a lot of
think?
people headache.
Does anyone think Greece though when you say a European player, or
I
do you think
I
I
Giannis?
I
do.
I do. I think that's one thing that turns me off about Giannis is he's not American. And again, when I say this about these players, they're all great players. They're all the best in the league per se. They're all top 10, top 20 players for a lot of these guys. But when you're foreign, it just isn't the same for me speaking.
Well, until when? Because we're not that far away from at least half the league being foreign.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying it doesn't, for me, again, this is just my bias and me, what I'd like to see it. I'd like to see the traditional American best player in the league. But to your point, it is going away. And I think that's going to be an issue moving forward is they're going to have to be able to have a guy that can speak to Americans the way that these past great American basketball players have spoken to Americans because the Europeans, the Africans, whatever, they come from different cultures. It's practically a different world. If anyone's ever traveled to places like this, it's harder to relate for me, at least speaking for myself again, for somebody who's a foreigner versus somebody who's American.
I don't know. Like sometimes I see Luka and Jokic like having fun. I can relate to that. Like that. I can see just that being a universal. They're having fun at the All-Star game and when they joke around and stuff. Like Luka's always joking off the court with his teammates. There's also like that one of Kyrie where he kind of taps him on the shoulder on the other side and fakes him out, and they're all laughing. Like I guess for me, maybe because also Dirk was my guy, and so I guess the European thing doesn't bother me as much. I almost find it interesting, right? I almost found it interesting to watch Dirk get a ring in the league. I think, I guess the first kind of foreigner to lead his team to a league, if we're not counting Parker or Ginobili, since Hakeem, right? So I enjoyed it though. I guess as long as they are relatable, right? Like even with the Greek freak, he seems to have like a good personality. Like he wants to compete. He's not really on the banana boat thing. As long as these guys are relatable, and I understand them being from other places, there is a barrier there. Even when Luka or Jokic talk, I kind of have to like really listen in or play it back, right? Sometimes.
Oh yeah,
But
that's so much different than the mumbling Americans. They have a
true.
gonna
better
say,
That's
grasp of
what
can't
I
the
mean. There's
understand
plenty
LeBron
of
either.
Americans who aren't relatable. I listen to these guys talk, and I'm like, "You lost me, man. Like I'm out," or they're just bumps on a log, or you know what I mean. They just have no personality or flair, or don't kind of hold themselves up with the proper like respect that they should. It's all about just being relatable. I think to me, I understand if we could have a preference to have an American guy being the face of the league, I get that being a preference, but at the same time, it doesn't really bother me either. Like the game's been going this way for a long time. If you've been following, like the international game has closed that gap by a significant margin.
I mean, I can understand that Americans have a hard time relating to educated trilingual people.
There it is. There it is.
That's not the thing to bitch about. God
There
damn
it is.
Yeah.
It's on us.
Yeah, I don't hold it against Luka that English is not his first language.
It's on us. I mean, how many people outside of the States can speak two languages? Or within the States.
Everybody.
Let me rephrase.
Yeah, within the States.
Yeah, within the States. Sorry, this
Oh.
I'm drunk. I apologize.
I can't speak one language.
But
Right, and you're the one saying, "Oh, we need to relate to Americans," which means keep the people
Keep them
dumbed
dumb.
down almost. Hey, I want them
keep
to
it
be like
dumb.
me.
but again,
Hey,
even
what
like
are we
the
talking about?
conversation.
Where have we gone?
Well, it gets lost in the weeds because it's so much politics, right? Like, how often do we even talk about how do we talk about basketball, right? Nobody's talking about this kid. Shit, what the hell's his last name already? Hey, which you just mentioned him, 11 points in 9 minutes. Like, that should be a headline. What's that?
Quincy?
Yeah, Quincy. Like, dude's I think he's on a 10-day, right? So he's in this crazy situation. Bronny refused to sign a two-way contract, right? Which, if anybody doesn't know what that means in here, means if he signs a two-way contract, he has to play for the G League team and the Lakers, right? But yet you have the front office saying, "Oh, Bronny will play in the G League, but he'll also start, right? But he doesn't have to." What are we doing? Like, they're lying to your faces, and then when people like us bring it out, who by the way are all different races, you guys are like, oh, you're haters. You got the fucking United Nations in front of you, telling you, all thinking similarly, if not thinking similarly, arguing in a similar fashion, telling you like, there could be some injustice here, but no, you guys are old haters. It's like it's I mean, it's sad.
Because they can't address the truth, so they have to address the individuals. I mean, it's common. I see it all the time.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I heard something last night. I was listening to it was a really big panel. I just remember Sports T was on it, and they were talking about Derek Fisher's comments about the NBA being the WWE.
Yep.
And they were complaining about it. I mean, more or less, they were saying that it's a problem. And somehow Ben Simmons came up. It was just like, yeah, look, they're sucking the league dry, and in the middle of talking about this entitlement, one of the panelists says, Ben Simmons's quote came up. They forgot how good I was, and this guy was like, well, there's no lies there. There's no lies there. He's telling the truth. I mean, they did. As if it was the fans' fault. I'm like, well, how good are our memories supposed to be about somebody that quit playing? I don't understand how the burden falls on the fans to keep talking about how great Ben Simmons was when he's chosen not to play basketball. And I'm just saying this entitlement thing has gotten so embedded in our brains that even people that are arguing against the entitlement end up like representing it. We're many, many years into this.
Oh, real fast. Sports T will be on next weekend on the show as we do the fantasy draft. Hold on, I gotta mute myself.
Nice. There was a guy, Paul Gorniak, I hope I said that right, from Poland, AOH. He wants to know if you ship outside of North America for your merch.
Oh, I don't do my own shipping anymore. I do the demand shirts. And
so yeah, I think as long as the website takes his address, then it should ship to him. Yeah.
And I switched recently because the guys I was doing, they wouldn't carry this. I guess it was too offensive or whatever. But I finally, it's upside down.
Yeah, LeBron is a bitch.
I wonder why.
AOH, I saw one of your shorts where you're under a bridge, or you're like, oh, there's a sighting of LeBron in Golden State or something, and it just zooms into your LeBron is a bitch shirt. I was laughing so hard. It was funny.
Yes, it's called the Golden Gate Bridge, my educated American.
Why don't you just send him a thank you card and let him keep talking to AOH? Thank you.
I had no idea. Never heard of that bridge.
I believe you.
Okay, it's Paul. Sorry, I said his name wrong. Sorry, Paul.
Hey, so let me ask you guys this. I don't know if you addressed this yet, but throughout, from the existence of the NBA, and yes, Dart, let's go all the way back to Big Mike's era. Who would you guys say, outside of Michael Jordan, was the best representative when it comes to being articulate, diplomatic, appeal, and just that likability? Like,
wait, really quick. I just want to say there was a big list of people that came to my mind because just about everybody could speak well and handled themselves well and stood up straight when they went on camera, black or white. Right. I go back and I look at those things. They shove the microphone in their face, and somehow these guys all sound great. I just like the fact that there's a lot of people to choose from. All right, go.
But yeah, no, that's what I just wanted to mention. Like outside of Jordan, because I know the problem is, I won't say it's a problem. They just didn't estimate how popular he was going to be. And then, of course, with the whole taking the league global. But I would say before Jordan, as far as just being articulate, diplomatic, that natural appeal. And, of course, they can market you to anybody.
Like Bird didn't seem like he...
Yeah, I was say Magic. You're going to say Bird is not necessarily... He's kind of like short with it and blunt. Magic comes to mind.
Yeah, Magic was born to be on the camera. all I was going to say about Bird is that he may not have really wanted to be there talking, but at least he didn't like sound like a moron when he was on camera.
Right. So speaking of those two, because that's what I was thinking, right? You have two totally opposite personalities, but yet they both were appealing. You could market both to a certain crowd, and then it's like they were articulate. Like you said, Bird didn't want to talk, but he could talk. You know, when he did, he didn't talk a lot. But Magic could talk forever, but nobody would tell him to be quiet. So when I saw that and how they kind of built them up to save the 80s, it wasn't like they were trying to like how much coerce certain things or fix. It's just like, okay, hey, Magic and Bird been in the league since 1979, but they got to meet up to play each other in the finals. We're not going to just fix a situation. Like when they got there, it felt genuine. It just doesn't. I don't know. Like it just doesn't feel the same now because these guys they're so caught up in their brand and what people saying about them on social media and just all this nonsense. Like I don't know if you guys watch Winning Time, but I believe it was the first time Bird and Magic got ready to face off, and they were speaking to the media. And you know, Magic was like, "Hey, Larry," and Bird kind of said, "I'm gonna wipe this shitty grin off your face." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll defend him a little bit. Social media, you could even see from a player's point of view why it's important to try and be very careful about how you present yourself, right? Being real doesn't really get you anything anymore, right? Which it almost feels like the culture around has to change for these guys to maybe open up and be more real a little bit. Maybe that sounds like an excuse for them.
no. I
don't
know
mean
where
it to
you're
be.
coming. Yeah, I know where
It's a
you're
business decision, right? It's just I got to be really careful about what I say, or just say nothing at all, right? That's almost the advice these days.
Not to digress, but when Bird called his team the SISSY word, yeah, you couldn't say that today. Oh,
You certainly couldn't.
Yeah, he would get labeled with every shaming label in the book. He would get tagged with. But
It's crazy that's such a bad word now.
Right, I seen the comments. Yeah, we can't forget Bill Russell. Like he was very well spoken and articulate as well.
You know, Wilt was too. Wilt did a lot of interviews, so you can catch Wilt talking on an interview, and Wilt looked pretty snazzy too. He dressed nice. Wilt was a pretty good looking dude.
And something else that I noticed from the guys in the past, they rarely would say like it wouldn't be something that they would spam. It's like if they say it, it's kind of like, okay, you know, if you say it maybe one time, two, they never go like, yeah, you know, I'm like, bruh. What?
Or whatever the case may be. When are we going to find out what the case is?
Speaking of LeBron James, right. I'm about to say something profound.
That's the moment I knew.
Saying, you know,
I'm like, you can't get a speaking coach to like help you frame your words like this. I'm like, bro, you sound like a.
No, I'm serious.
Kind of speaking.
You know what I'm saying?
But hoops, it's tough to tell somebody. I guess a 17, 18-year-old go to school and learn these things or go become a millionaire, right? So that's what they always say. It's like, well, it doesn't matter if you can read a check or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the problem is that the standards have fallen that far. So it might not matter for somebody that doesn't have any influence, but for somebody that has, you know, as many followers as he does, well, you're going out here in front of all these people and sounding absolutely insane with almost everything that you say. And nobody has like the wherewithal to say anything about it or call you on it.
Now I see the comments talking about when they went to college, but the reason why I disagree with that, Kobe didn't go to college. He was very well spoken.
Yeah, he lived in France
That's
though,
fair.
for a while, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say he was overseas.
And he went to like private schools. He went
in Italy.
Yeah, he went some really nice schools growing up.
So,
but again, his dad earned it, right? His dad was a pro player too, so that's the spoils of victory.
Yeah, and he didn't have to fix anything to get his son drafted. He just let his talents go out there and get him into the league, for crying out loud. But yeah,
true.
One thing I do want to touch on is that so Bronny is the 15th, right? Just kind of to bring it back a little bit, right? You have 15 roster spots. So if the Lakers are a fringe team fringe playoff team, fringe play in team, whatever. So what's it look like if you have these roster spots that now you have to create, and Bronny's still averaging 5 points, whatever, even less than that, and it makes me sound like a hater, but that's where we are. This is a franchise that traded what? Let me see. I pulled it up here. We got, since LeBron's been there, Lonzo Ball, Brendan Ingram, Josh Hart, Zubac, Danny Green, Kyle Kuzma, KCP, Montrezl Harrell, THT, Patrick Beverly, Thomas Bryant, Russell Westbrook. Is anybody in that list? Is Bronny in the same? And this isn't hate. This is fact. Is he in that conversation with any of them?
He's not even in the same house, let alone the basement.
Right. So you can trade those assets. What are you going to do for a player with a guaranteed contract with those numbers taking up a player or a roster spot when you guys are the, I don't know, let's say 7 seed, 8 seed, 2 games back? You know what I mean? How do you justify that? How do you, JJ Redick, Mr. Savant, Mr. Know-it-all, how do you come up in front of a bunch of reporters and say, oh yeah, we decided to do X, Y, and Z. Bronny he's a project. Yeah, but shouldn't a project be winning?
Throw up the comment asking how we got Richard Jefferson to come on our stream.
No, I already saw it, and that's fine. You got it by changing him into a 39-year-old nonprofit project manager.
JJ Redick. That's what
broadcasting out of his basement. Right. And how does JJ Redick get to keep his job? He didn't win an in-season tournament. Darvin Ham did. JJ doesn't have any in-season tourneys under his belt. So
there's FYF representing the moronic population of the world. Hey, as long as there's money, man, you should have tuned in to the beginning. We just
I was gonna say, what is the metric what is the metric for being more business savvy?
I mean, that's what I want to know. Like, how are they more
just being quiet and trying to have a brand is more business
that handles everything for them?
Yeah,
Lamont, don't you have a show going on your channel right now? with one of my
sports and
rivals?
Fitness rants. Oh, that's why he's here. Sports and Fitness isn't here.
Politicus Rex tried to join as well, but he said his signal is weak and he kept dropping off. So
it's because he still lives in the 60s and 70s.
And let me say this: there's nothing wrong with being business savvy, but that shouldn't come before your job. That shouldn't come before what's providing you the savvy of your business. The NBA.
Real quick. They called you Bill Bird, Dart. So put that shit up there. All you fuckers calling me Richard Jefferson. Put the Bill Burr thing up there. All right, cool. Sorry, my bad. My bad, Hoops. Go ahead. My fault.
No. That's fine. I was just speaking on that part.
Real fast though, because FYF. FYF says he's been business savvy. Got others on the show. The FYF is, involved with the NBA circle. I don't know if y'all want to hear his takes about. I would like to hear him, but it's because this is collaborative. If y'all don't want him on, if somebody doesn't want him on, then that's fine. I would like to hear his take on the marketing situation.
Yeah. I enjoy dialoguing with him. Yeah, bring him on.
Yeah.
Let me get some.
You got it, Dart. Yeah, I was gonna say also. I was looking up because I remember hearing about this guy who was extremely rich, Junior Bridgman. He's like a former player.
Real fast, Nick. AOH, are you good with that or?
Oh, I'm just noting he's here when Sports and Fitness Rants isn't here.
Okay, Lamont, I'm gonna send you the link via text. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Can someone tell me the history on that at some point so I can understand the context?
It was back when Wait, what was it? Was it before?
I don't know, but they produced
episode.
They went back and forth on their own channels for a while.
Yeah. It's been brewing.
But yeah, Lamont, I'm going to send you a text, but yeah, for the European thing, just speaking for myself, man, it's. And people, I don't know, maybe somebody said I was like some like super nationalist. I don't know. I was driving, but
dude, we should all be super nationalists, man. Like, who cares? Like,
you're right. Who cares?
Yeah, I love my country.
That's the point.
Me. Like,
yeah,
that's the whole point. Believe what you believe is as long as you're not hurting anybody. Like, that's the whole idea.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're perfect, but like, shit, I still want us to win over you 100 times out of 100. Like, what do you want me to say about that?
Lamont, I sent you the link on your phone. But
And actually, someone put up a really good comment. Business acumen now is just having a social media account. You don't necessarily need to navigate all the nuances of how to become successful once you become that brand.
Yeah, and all the richest players besides LeBron that have ever played in the NBA or currently are retired, not counting their salaries, right? I'm sure the salary put a lot of the new guys up, but they're all pre-2000s players who have been successful in business and entrepreneurship. That was that one guy I was mentioning. Guys like Shaq, Vinnie Johnson, like they're all multi-hundred millionaires, right? Like they've done quite well for themselves outside of the NBA.
welcome, Politicus Rex and Lamont. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Hey, two people. What up?
Yeah, I'm good. Just on the road, so spotty signal.
What's up, Lamont?
That's all right.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay. All right. Nobody said anything, not even an FU or anything, so I didn't know if y'all were hearing me.
No. Lamont, you hear us or?
Yeah, can you hold on? Am I good?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Uh,
What do you think about the NBA and the marketing situation? Do you think there's going to be a void when LeBron James retires?
no, there's no void. Obviously, there's going to be a desperation to find a new face for the next 20 years, and obviously, from what we can see, is that the NBA is desperate to find an American face and not an international face. So, I'm thinking, I mean, you can only we've had these voids before. The NBA was okay. They'll find somebody eventually. It could, I'm thinking NBA is hoping it's Cooper Flag next, American golden boy, unicorn type athlete, and it very well could be, but we don't know. So I mean, but I think the NBA is in a good place today because of how many stars it's going to at least have to kind of carry the league until they find a new face.
Yeah, I'd kind of mention the top 25, under 25, like the top 5, 6, 7 guys. That's who I'd somehow bundle those guys as a package, and whoever kind of comes out on top is your guy in a way.
For me, again, I was driving, so I couldn't really see how you guys were reacting to what I was saying. But man, and especially meeting different types of people around the world, it's people just don't talk the same. Like you can relate to people, seeing them have fun, like you were saying, Nick, and doing all these things. These are empathetic things. However, people are so different across the world. And even like you're talking with Luka and Jokic. Jokic likes riding horses, man. He's I guess the closest thing you could think of is like,
that's real.
I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just saying it's like there's a difference between being an Eastern European who likes to ride horses and a cowboy who likes to ride horses. It's a whole nother culture. You might try to say, oh, well, he's like a cowboy. No, he's not.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying you are.
When
I'm
he
saying
does that, that's authentic.
Are there people that say that,
It
Dart?
looks goofy as hell, right? But it's authentic.
No, I'm saying people trying to be empathetic about like activities, trying to relate with people. So if you're from the South, you're from the West or whatever, and you ride horses, you might think, well, I like to ride horses, and he's like me, and that's not. Jokic is unlike any like cowboy or horse ride. This is a very generic example. Just because he rides horses doesn't mean he's like you if you ride horses. That's all I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I understand that.
But, so Lamont, you said that if you had to say, who do you think is going to be the next face?
I don't think the player exists yet. I don't see it. I don't think it can be an international player. The NBA, I don't think the NBA is ever going to allow an international player to be the face for the marketing sake. So, I mean, Wemby's going to be good. He's going to be marketable to a certain degree, but face an NBA, I don't know. The NBA's always really pushed Americans in that spot. They wanted it to be Tatum. They wanted it to be Zion. They wanted it to be Ja Morant. None of those guys lived up to the billing. So now they're searching. And it's okay. The thing is, it's okay if we don't have a face. It's okay. The NBA's going to be fine. The money's going to be just as good. The ratings is still going to be up. Everybody's still going to watch. It's still going to be drama and controversy and debates.
Aren't the ratings down, though? Not to cut you off, but aren't the ratings down?
Well, what the one thing that I utilize to determine if the ratings are down is the money. And whenever the money continues,
of course.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
He lagged out.
Lamont, you lagged out wherever you are.
Yeah, I want to know his answer on that because he probably has more of a no. But I thought they've been saying the last few, playoffs, finals games, what have you, they've all been statistically down as far as numbers go.
Well, they are.
But if it's different, it's different.
Yeah, ratings precede money.
Yeah, touche. Okay.
Well, apparently they don't.
And if I'm not
they'll have to at some point.
If I'm not
ratings are unquestionably down, but the revenue is up. So,
and if I'm not mistaken, didn't they get back with NBC so they can get back like to that 90s feel when they like build up that dramatic situation between the two players?
There's that and Prime, so they both got a piece.
Yeah.
But what were you saying, Lamont? You lagged out on us.
Oh no, it's just at the end of the day, like with the money and the ratings and things like that, like if the money's coming from somewhere, and it's generally coming from some type of viewership from somewhere. And I don't think with all of the streaming services that the numbers are always going to be accurate. And I think the NBA understands that because, like I say, the money is going up, and these TV companies are bidding billions of dollars on the NBA games for a reason. So if it wasn't being watched as much, then it will show in the money. And like I say, I just don't trust the TV ratings that are coming out now that streaming services have kind of thrown everything off to a certain degree.
Fair enough.
I had a question when you finished.
No, I think he was dropping out.
I wanted to ask about him saying he doesn't believe it's going to be a face because I'm not saying that I totally disagree, but let's be honest, the league is kind of more geared toward the WWE, and the fans are going to dictate who is going to be the face. Because just like Vince McMahon, I know you guys remember this. When Stone Cold was on the rise, he could hear how those fans were cheering. Ultimately, what happened? Stone Cold became the face. So the fans are going to dictate who's the face just based off how they're going to cheer, how they're going to get behind a certain player, and the jersey sales. So I just wanted to ask whenever he comes back on.
And one thing I didn't realize, Anthony Edwards has like 4 baby mamas. Is this right?
Yep.
Thank you. No, Nick, don't stop there. Don't stop there. Who else? Zion Williamson. Who else? The kid down there in Houston. He already got 3 children by 3 different women.
Yeah.
Zion dropped the biggest bag I've ever seen, letting that woman ruin his life with one IG post.
I didn't know that about Anthony Edwards, though. That obviously kind of sucks.
Hey,
I mean, in terms of him being the face of the league, right? I don't think most people will like that.
You don't say.
One thing I can say about LeBron, he got them NDAs on deck, so you won't hear that coming from him.
He got that shit tattooed on him somewhere, I'm sure.
I give him props.
Hey, read this, Diddy, before we do this.
No.
Why do y'all want to connect LeBron to the Diddy situation so bad?
Hey, nobody like a Diddy
connected, so
no, we were talking about how these.
I mean, it was jokes, but he's already connected.
He's not connected.
I'd seen an article where LeBron was in a maid outfit. I got that sent to.
That was AI.
That's AI. That and the pink outfit, all that stuff is AI.
Him partying with him, he partied with him. I mean, he's on camera, but no.
But what I'm saying is, it's been hundreds of athletes, hundreds of entertainers who've openly come out and said they party with Diddy.
They may not have the same vested interest.
What I'm saying is, I'm thinking it's like this video of LeBron saying he partied with Diddy's been out for years and years and years, and it's never been a big deal until now. Diddy gets charged with crimes, and it seems like what people are trying to do is they're trying to connect LeBron to the criminality of some of the things that Diddy was doing. And all of us now are using this video that's been out for years to say, here's the connection. He was involved. He was part of the crimes when there was no talk about this before.
I think people are just joking about him being
real
involved
quick.
in crimes.
They're not,
I don't think did anything.
You don't have to necessarily use one video to represent a connection. I think that's what's getting lost here. People are, they're saying, yes, he's connected, but that's not because of one video. That's because of social media. That's because there's a paper trail of interactions, conversations. It's not just because of one video. It's the fact that he, stopped following Diddy on X channels, what have you. There are moves that are made in between these situations where it's like, yeah, there's a connection here. It's weak, but as things happen, you can strengthen it. It's no different than the steroids thing. Like, yeah, it's not outright proven, but you can go based on how people's patterns of behaviors go. There might be some truth to that.
I'm not trying to RICO LeBron into a criminal or that he was
sure
human trafficking or something like that.
Right.
I'm just saying that if those parties are what we have heard they are, they were fucking buck wild. And for LeBron to be a part of that, right? Again, his image and that doesn't really line up, right? If you knew that LeBron was going to these essentially like massive orgy sex parties or whatever, right? And there's shady stuff going on, it's not a good look. I'm not trying to say he's in on the crime of what Diddy was part of, but it's just a little bit of guilty by association in terms of his portrayal of himself.
Correct. Yes, hundreds and hundreds of people have gone to those parties, but not everybody dropped a quote that was so quotable. I mean, people have been using that quote before the allegations. So it makes it an easy target. When you've got a quote that you can drop like that links LeBron to it. I mean, how can you expect people that like to tear people down not to use that quote? Ain't no party like a Diddy party.
I'm not saying he's not connected to Diddy as friends. Diddy was friends with a ton of people in the industry, athletes, entertainers. I'm not saying they're not connected. What I'm saying is now all of a sudden that Diddy's now charged criminally, this has become a big deal. And what people are trying to do is, even if they're not saying it, they're trying to, in a sneaky way, connect the criminality of what Diddy's charged with LeBron. Like going to a Diddy party has never generally been looked at as illegal. The crimes that Diddy's charged with is a different thing, and that's people trying to make that connection. That's where it gets weird for me.
They're not singling him out. They're doing that to any celebrity.
I was going to say that's not exclusive to LeBron.
I don't think anyone is saying.
I heard Jay-Z's name at least as much as I
heard the Obamas. Yeah, I've heard all kinds of people.
I don't think anyone's saying he was criminal. I think it's the point. I think people just joke because it's a thing right now. I think that's
I don't know. Let me ask you a quick question.
Or at least I am. I'll say that.
I got a quick question. Number one, do you believe LeBron has information that he could divulge about the parties? And number two, why hasn't he spoken out? That's what a lot of people have issues with, because he did not hesitate to speak out against Kyrie with the whole quote unquote anti-Semitic thing and the post or whatever. But it's like when you present yourself as more than an athlete, well, people are going to expect you to speak up on all of these other situations that don't involve athleticism in sports. So what's your take on those two?
Well, here's my thing.
I'm gonna drop out real quick. Get ready for my debate. I'll see you all in a little bit.
Hey, good luck, sir.
Bye, everybody.
Good luck, man.
Because I did a live stream about LeBron speaking up. It actually got my live streaming banned for 90 days from one of the network, because I was talking about one of their news, and it's what's her name? It's in Laura Ingraham, right? And so what it was that was around the saga where people were saying shut up and dribble. So it just seems like, to me, it seems like it's a two-edged, it's like two sides to this. When LeBron does choose to speak up, he's vilified and people criticize about how he said it, what he said, who he involved, if he's on the right political side, if he said it, they nitpick everything. And then conversely, in situations where he doesn't say anything, where he doesn't take a firm stance, then people say, why isn't he talking? So it's just like, it doesn't matter what LeBron says or does.
But that's life for all of us, though.
No, but what I'm saying is the fact that now that people are saying, why isn't he speaking up? Well, normally you don't speak up when something doesn't involve you. Like, if it doesn't directly involve me, why do I need to speak up just because people, like you guys have admitted, are trying to, in a joking manner, connect me to a situation? So why would I need to speak up?
I mean, he was at the parties.
But that doesn't connect you to the criminality.
No, right. No. for me speaking, I was just saying he was at the party. And
I get that.
So,
Yeah.
so Lamont, this is my thing. Hold on, this is my thing, right? And I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, right? Because I think there is a little bit of substance. The point I'm making is when you present yourself like that, right? Like if you say, "Hey, I'm going to speak on all issues." As a matter of fact, he requoted the MLK. He said, anything with justice, I think he said a threat to justice anywhere or something like that. I can't remember verbatim, but he said any injustice is a threat to justice. So now you're like requoting what MLK said, further confirming what I'm going to speak out, right? So when you say, "Hey, I'm going to be a social justice warrior," yes, what you have to already expect the slings and arrows and the backlash. That's par for the course. So like you said, if he does speak up, yeah, he's going to get labeled this and labeled that and yada, yada, yada. Or if he bees quiet, yeah, same, just like Muhammad Ali, right? When he put himself in that situation, he understood, yes, I'm going to piss off a certain demographic of people, but I'm also going to be glorified by a certain like part of people. So that's what a lot of people are trying to say. Okay, LeBron, why are you quiet?
That means, are you saying that this Diddy situation is a social justice issue?
I mean, okay,
this is not a social justice issue.
Hold on. Talk about Lamont. Let me be more specific. Let me be more specific. Why is he speaking up on what Diddy did to Cassie from that video? I'll be more specific.
I didn't follow. First one, I can't speak on it because I didn't follow what he said about the Cassie incident. Obviously, that video came out, so I don't know what he said.
Yeah, I'm saying he never spoke on it. That's the point I'm making. Like,
okay, so but he didn't speak. But the thing is, why does he need to speak on stuff? Like you said, he said he was going to speak up on issues around social justice. The Cassie Diddy situation is a domestic violence situation that's not revolved around social injustices. Nobody got beat up by the police. Nobody got shot and killed by the police. It's not a Sandra Bland issue or anything like that. So why do you expect? Because you just said, he said social issues. This is Diddy situation is not a social issue. It's just a TMZ issue. It's a star getting charged with a crime. And just because fans have pulled up old videos trying to connect LeBron to the crime doesn't mean he needs to come out and speak on something that does not involve him, that's not been confirmed by the feds that involves him. He's not in the indictment, so we know it doesn't involve him. So why does he need to speak on it just because fans want to hear the juicy, salacious details?
My brain.
So is there? Wait. So let me ask Lamont: is that a threat to justice?
Like you guys are talking around the actual issue, and no disrespect, Lamont, because I just met you, but it's like this is what LeBron fans do. They get someone like Hoop Scott or myself kind of bogged down in these details, and then there's like no more energy to have the initial argument, which is that which is what Hoops is trying to get across. We're not assuming, we're not insinuating, we're going off of the facts. And, sometimes like these assumptions are made, and then it's like you get bogged down in the fine details. And that's a lot of LeBron fans do that. They kind of they wear you down with that. And he does pick and choose on what he speaks on.
Yeah,
but Hoop God gave us the fact. The fact that Hoop God gave us was that LeBron gave a statement saying he's going to speak on issues around social justice. We can stop right there. That's a fact that he presented. Mm-hmm. So if we take the fact that LeBron's going to speak on issues of social injustices, and then you're saying he needs to speak on the Diddy issue, which is not an issue with regards to any social injustice, then so he gave the fact. I'm just putting it together. So LeBron's not speaking on it primarily because this is not an issue about social injustices.
Hold on, but wait, Lamont. But what Diddy's doing is that not a threat to justice though? Before he got convicted,
no, it's not. This is not a threat to justice. Diddy's get charged with a crime of racketeering and sex trafficking. That's not, and then there's, from what people are saying, there's overwhelming evidence to support it. No one's running around saying that the government is after Diddy, and like there's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of victims. There's a lot of things that support this. This is not an issue about a police beating up and killing a guy who was unarmed. Those, because we clearly know the social justice issues that he will speak up on, the matters like that. Diddy's Diddy issue is not a social injustice. It's just a guy who got charged with a crime.
Real fast. So Uncommon Sense, he sent me a super chat for $10. He said there aren't any real leaders in the league to be the face today. Shout out to everyone. Thanks, dude. I sent you an email asking if you wanted to go and join the MJFB Fantasy Basketball League, and to just follow up when you'll be back to the show. So I don't know if you checked your email or not, but thank you for the $10 US for the super chat. I think we've been going down this Diddy rabbit hole that I think has nothing to do.
Phrasing.
Thank you. It has nothing to do with nothing.
marketing.
But I wanted to talk about Bronny before we got out of here. I know y'all probably gonna end soon.
Yeah, I got to end for Nick's finals debate for the MJFB Summer Debate League, as is extended into the fall. And then and Lamont on the sidebar, and both you, Speem Engine and Hoop God. I haven't made this announcement on a show yet, but I'm going to have a winter debate league again with new rules, new methods of deciding who's the winner to avoid that situation that happened with Lamont since he's here. That way it doesn't just get pigeonholed into one thing. And in a new format, which I will flesh out and promote later. However, that will be happening soon. But today is the finals. If Nick is able to pull out a win, there'll be one more match. But if Jim wins today, he will be the MJFB Summer Debate League champion, and they'll be debating who's or what was greater, the 87 Lakers or the 72 Lakers. Jim will be backing the 72 Lakers, Nick the 87 Lakers. That will happen at the top of the hour. Tune in to that. It will be exciting. Both great debaters. Anyway, Lamont, you said that you want to talk about Bronny. Do you, in respect to marketing, or
both? Because I think it ties into marketing. It just with the fan chatter. Like, obviously, all the fans are saying Bronny. Obviously, I mean, I think it's obvious. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know Bronny's not ready to play in the NBA right now. And I just think this is the misconception. Fans have now come to believe that players are drafted because they're just super talented and ready to play in the NBA. Players have gotten drafted for political reasons. There have been a couple guys drafted out of China just to capitulate and make China happy for some things that happened in the 2000s. We've seen John Stockton get his son David Stockton opportunities with the Utah Jazz. This guy was an average player at Gonzaga. We just saw Eddie House even this year talk to the Celtics and get his son, a 5'8" guard, an opportunity with the Boston Celtics. Jalen House, I mean, he's not even really that good. He wasn't really that good in college. He struggled, transferred a couple times. We've seen players kind of pull strings, make things happen, do favors for certain players here and there. And then all of a sudden with Bronny, there's a clear value that he brings to the Lakers, which obviously right now is marketing. I mean, $50 million in jersey sales already, 500,000 jerseys sold already. There's a marketing aspect. There's a social media aspect that he brings. He's not ready to play on the court. And then when you talk about his game, all I hear people talking about is, oh, he didn't score X amount of points. But since high school, going into college, he was never tabbed as a great offensive player. Every scout on everything that I've seen since he's entered high school said his offense needs work. His offense needs work, but his defense is there. His defense is there. His IQ is there, and that's what we can build on early on and maybe work on his offense. But he's still a 2 to 4 year project. Why do people expect to see him step into the preseason and drop 29, 30 points to impress everybody when he was never tabbed as an offensive player? It was only defense, and so we only can look to some of the defensive tangibles that he can maybe give you in glimpses. Right?
Do you think he would have done that if his dad hadn't come out and said his son was better than X amount of players on League Pass?
If who would have done what?
If his dad hadn't come out on social media and said, Bronny's better than so-and-so, so on and so forth, do you think that would still be the case?
But who are you talking about? Who would have done what?
If Bronny, so do you think the perception would be the same for Bronny? Like, yeah, he's a project and everything that you said, which I agree with. Would the perception still be, oh, he has nothing to prove? He's a 55th pick?
Because LeBron said he was better than people in the league.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
My bad. Thank you, Dark.
Well, that to me, that would mean LeBron is a bad judge of talent. Just like we could say Michael Jordan was a bad judge of talent. But again, what LeBron said about Bronny, it didn't take her, even when he said it about Bronny in the moment, no scout co-signed it. No scout came out and said, yeah, LeBron is right, by the way. He is better than a lot of the league. No scout, nobody that was seriously watching Bronny with an unbiased lens was saying those things. We know that was a father bigging up his son, rightfully so. Just like anybody else in the chatter on the panel, if you're a father, you might give a little extra boost to when you're talking about your son doing anything and you want to make him look great. So again,
it's not the same though, but that's not the same.
But at the end of the day, if you want to just go off what LeBron said, and you're putting all this criticism, unfair criticism
hold on,
Bronny,
no, because I don't want you to put words in my mouth. That's not what I said. I wasn't saying I'm weighing it all on that. I was just asking, does that factor into it?
Only if you want it to. It doesn't factor in it for me, because what I said was going into it. I said watching him in high school. Right. A lot of people say he wasn't good in high school. That's not true. His senior year in high school, he led his team in almost every statistical category. Top 100 school in the country. He was a top 25 prospect. He was great in high school. So if anybody tries to lie about that, he goes into college, the heart issue. I think he chose the wrong school out the gate. USC has been a terrible basketball program for years. So it was the wrong choice. The coach is not very good there. They haven't done a good job of kicking out NBA prospects. I thought that was the wrong choice. I thought he probably should have transferred to another program, spend another year under a coach that was a school that was going to feature him and allow him to showcase NBA level skills. But he chose to go into the draft because he knew the Lakers would take him, or some team would take him in the second round.
Wait, what did you say, Bronny led in?
Hey, who got it? I know I know you wanted to ask a question, but after this, we're going to start wrapping it up because I got to reorient myself for this debate that's happening in 15 minutes. You had a question?
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask. So with like Bronny being what, the 55th overall pick, and getting all this media hype and all this praise, but and what you said about the Suns and everything, which I wasn't aware with David Stockton and Eddie House. But what about Austin Rivers? Because he wasn't getting all this notoriety, and he was significantly better.
No, but hold on. Austin Rivers coming out of high school was one of the hottest names in the market. I mean, coming out of, because he was in Florida, he was one of the hottest names. He essentially started the mixtape culture. When you talk about Austin Reeves, he was supposed to, the way they were talking about him, he was supposed to be the next Jordan. So when you say he wasn't getting all that glitz and glamour, he was one of the hot.
I'm talking about when he got to the
when he got to the league, that same glitz and glamour followed him still. But what happened was, he showed who he truly was. All the hype that they were giving him, right? He just, when he got on the court and played, he wasn't living up to the billing of being a superstar, which is what coming out of Duke, everybody thought he would be. But the hype was there. So to say Austin Rivers wasn't getting that hype is not true. He was one of the most hyped up high school players ever.
Hold on. Wait, Lamont. Now let's look at the production though. Did Austin Rivers not have better production than Bronny? Because we got to be genuine about this.
Austin Rivers was a better player coming, and then he was a better player than Bronny. I'm not talking about where they are as players. So the thing is, what I'm saying is, we all agree that Bronny, as a player, is not ready. What I'm saying is, let's not pretend as if players in this league have always gotten drafted based on talent alone. Players have gotten drafted for political reasons, financial reasons, doing favors for people. And so in this particular case, we know that this was a favor and it was a little bit of nepotism, which I don't agree. But the thing is, I don't knock it because it happens all the time, especially in the NBA. It's just you guys pick and choose when to call it out. Because when it happens with other players, you don't care.
Wait, Lamont. No, that's not us. The media put the spotlight on it because I didn't go dig up information to say, wait, what is Bronny doing? Speed didn't do it. Dart didn't do it. Come on, Lamont, be honest. The media put the spotlight on him due to LeBron. So now we're only reacting to what they were giving us, and we're saying, hold up, what y'all are telling us isn't true. That's the point I'm speaking of.
No, the media put a spotlight on him because individually, right? Because of some of the things he's done off the court, his connections with some of the biggest gaming groups on YouTube and on Twitch, his marketability. The media was going, anytime you have a big name, big face, whether you're good or bad, the media is going to put a spotlight on you. But the thing is, you guys are acting like it's an unfair spotlight, but Bronny's always had this spotlight. We knew he was going to have this spotlight because of his connection to LeBron. It's not necessarily his fault, but the thing is, there's value in that spotlight for any team that drafted him. That's what made him more draftable than some of the other players in the second round.
More marketable.
Not to mention that when the second round starts, a lot of people don't know this about the draft. And I was in the same rooms with a guy named Carson Edwards. I was in the same room with AJ Hammonds, even Adonis Arms, the guy that barbecued Bronny in that first summer league game. Right when the second round of the NBA draft starts, all of these guys are calling their agents, saying, basically telling teams, "Don't draft me," especially if they can find a better situation with a team where they have a realistic shot of making the G League team or the actual roster. They are all of these guys. So what happens, especially towards the end of the second round, is you have a whole bunch of spots available for teams to draft players, but there's not a lot of people to choose from because players are calling teams saying, don't draft me. Adonis Arms, he called the guy that barbecued Bronny 3 years ago, called teams and was saying, don't draft me. I have a situation with the Denver Nuggets. Gabe McLaughlin, a guy that was here at GCU, was telling people, don't draft me. I have a situation with the Denver Nuggets. Carson Edwards, he was telling teams, I have a situation with the Boston Celtics. Don't draft me. Right.
What was their
what I'm saying? What I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is it opens up a ton of spots, right? When you have a whole bunch of players that you might want to take, calling you saying, don't draft me. Especially at the end of the second round, where these picks are generally don't hold much value or weight. You have the opportunity to take guys like Bronny because there's just not a lot of players to choose from, with so many players picking up the phone saying, don't draft me. I have a situation. I have a summer league deal here. I have a G League deal here. Don't draft me. Nobody wants to get drafted at the bottom of the second round. It's a fact.
Yeah. And Dart, I know you were trying to end it, but I just want to say they had the production to do that. Bronny didn't.
Hold on, but that's why Bronny wasn't really calling teams saying draft me, but he had the marketability for teams to have some interest.
Rich Paul was calling.
No. Rich Paul called teams and said, "Don't draft Bronny. We have a situation. He was literally doing what every other player in the second round was doing, calling teams saying, "I have a situation already."
Gentlemen, we gotta shut this thing down. I gotta go and get ready for this upcoming debate. But thank you all for joining the panel. Steam Engine, Hoop God, Lamont from FYF Sports. Steam Engine and Hoop God, for y'all that don't know, have a new show that have come out called Precision Hoops. You can check them out on their channels. You can check them out on my channel. They stream live generally Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Go check them out. Generally, give or take 45 minutes if they get there on time.
As we're saying our goodbyes, real quick, thank you, Lamont. You don't know me, but thank you. I'm going to hit you up because I want to come back to this for sure. I feel like people can.
Lamont was there when Gilbert Arenas came.
Oh, okay, good. All right, so good. You could get me my sneakers then. Yeah. Good segue. Thank you, Hoops God. No, but I want to come back to this. Also, Hoops God, I think we should do this on our next show on Wednesday because it's like, it's a nuanced conversation, but it gets bogged down by everybody's emotions, and I want to come back to it. But appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. Lamont, we still got to finish our Hakeem discussion. I've been waiting, sir.
Hey, I'm waiting. I mean, it's just whenever y'all got time. I mean, I've been going live a little bit more myself. So I mean, I'll try to. I mean, if you see me live on my own individual show, you can pull up, or if I can catch you guys, I don't know what time you guys go live Wednesday. That's usually our game day or practice day. So it just depends on the time that you guys go live. If I can pull up, I'll try to pull up.
We connected on Messenger, so I'll just send you just a little heads up.
All right, man. Sounds good.
And if you want, I can go and I could, as a self-proclaimed debate broker, we could always just make an event out of it.
Yeah, that's not a terrible idea.
I don't think it's a debate, really. I don't think it's really a debate, man.
We just didn't get to finish the conversation that we started on Hakeem.
You got anything else to say, Hoop God, before I pass it off to Lamont?
Lamont, man, appreciate you coming through. It's always good having dialogue, man. And everybody else out there in the chat, hey, thank you guys for being active and getting the traffic and going and everything. It's imperative that we destroy these narratives. And hey, tune in to Precision Hoops. On Wednesdays and Tuesdays.
Rex, we saw that. We'll talk. We'll get Dart to get you on there. Rex, we saw you.
Yes, sir.
And
all right,
all right, Lamont.
And check out FYF Sports Debates with Lamont there. You have anything to say about that? You have anything you want to plug, Lamont?
No, nothing necessarily. No, I just like talking basketball. That's
absolutely.
Absolutely. And again, thank you all for coming. Thank you, chat. And tune in again. We got the finals of the MJFB Summer Debate League starting in 10 minutes on my channel. Tune in. It'll be great. 2 great debaters. 2 great teams. It's going to be amazing. And for everyone, Michael Jordan fan.